Why does it say 38 and not 40?
Because your mom wants to be 38. Let's not mention it again.
It doesn't seem like our lives should be this much work.
Their daughter told my son he looked like Tom Petty in a negative way.
Who's Tom Petty?
You know who Tom Petty is.
Catherine, control yourself.
This is what happens when you corner a rat. I'll chew through you.
We're gonna blink and be 90.
What?
We have to make a choice to make things different.
Hey, buddy.
You should stop letting your dad make you feel guilty.
I can't lend you any more money.
Your mother wanted you aborted.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, so that should have been some of the trailer for This Is 40. This is the new film from Judd Apatow, I hate this term, so I'm just going to say it's a spin-off from Knocked Up, which now stars Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann, Judd Apatow's wife, as the same characters from that film. Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann's characters, they both have 2 daughters, and they're basically both turning 40, and the movie is basically a month in their life. That's kind of the plot. That's what it is. It's a month in their life where they constantly bicker, try to raise their children, deal with their parents, and deal with work and other things, all revolving around them turning the age of 40. So, with that said, I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin, what did you think of This Is 40?
I wanted to claw my face off within 5 minutes. And I love Judd Apatow. I like Leslie Mann. I like Paul Rudd. 5 minutes. I was like, this is going to go bad. And it just went bad and worse as it went along. I just don't want to sit around and watch people. Well, first of all, she just basically got on his case about everything that he did. Everything he did. She didn't shut up. I really wanted to punch her in the face.
That's how wives are, though.
Well, I know, but I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch it for. I don't want to watch their relationship. I think for 2.5 hours because I just couldn't stand it. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, they would have arguments and then they would make up. I love you too, and then they'd argue again, and then they'd make up and then argue, and then all the money crap talk. I mean, they're upper white middle class people who have tons of money, loan their father $80,000. And they're kind of concerned about the $12,000 missing at her little boutique store. Kind of concerned. They'll have to give me the $12,000. And then they're spending $4,000 on a birthday party. And then they're like, well, we might have to sell our house and get a smaller one. Give me a break. When he's crying in his BMW, I was over.
Mark, what did you think of This Is 40?
Sorry.
Yeah, and I think instead of spending a month in the lives of this couple, they probably would have been better off spending maybe a week in their lives to shorten it down. But I mean, Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann, they're such likable actors that they were almost enough for me to get through the low points and downtimes in the film. But the problem is there's just not enough laughs in this for it to be even a 90-minute film, let alone one that runs 2 hours and 15 minutes. And that's the thing is I'm pretty much the target audience for a movie like this. I'm in my mid to late 30s. I have kids, and I, even have an obsession with Lost, like the daughter has, So like I was loving those scenes, But I'd have to say this is one of the bigger disappointments of the year for me, because I was really expecting something closer to maybe, and I know not everybody loved it, but I was a big fan of Crazy Stupid Love last year. And I was kind of hoping for something similar to that, where it made me laugh and it also made me kind of feel something. And by the end, I wanted it to be over.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Apatow as well, and I like funny people a lot more than a lot of people seem to, and I like Knocked Up. I really enjoy, and 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like I like his movies that he's directed, and I like his kind of brand of comedy that he's established throughout these past this decade, and. This is the first time that, I just couldn't get with his freeform approach to plot. Like, he has this entire movie that it actually feels like one of Judd Apatow's, TV shows, like Freaks and Geeks, or, he has, a whole season's worth of material that he's tried to cram into, one 2-hour, 15-minute movie, and it just doesn't work. It feels like there's so much meandering plot threads going on here. There's so many just different characters that Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann interact with that just kind of don't matter, don't go anywhere. That it feels like he made a 6-hour movie and he cut it down to this, and it just doesn't feel like a movie. It just feels like, hey, this is all stuff that's happened with these characters in this amount of time. And that would be okay if the movie is, better and not kind of insufferable after a while. Like you get my key example is kind of how these are mid to upper class white Americans that are dealing with money issues in quotation marks. And the whole time they're worried, like Paul Rudd's worried about his record label, going bankrupt, so he's going to have to do something about it, like sell his house. And then, like, midway through the movie, they're like, let's take a fancy vacation to Laguna Beach for a weekend and, like, go to a luxurious hotel room and order all the room service we want to and just hang out and have fun. And then we'll go back home to our problems where we, still just dropped, like, $100,000 on a weekend, but we're, like, okay to have fun again. Like, the movie's not relatable, really, for me. Like, and I don't think it's just because I'm not, a 40-year-old person with kids. I think it's because it just doesn't try to be anything more than a representation of what Judd Apatow's life could be like if he wasn't as successful. And individually, there's a lot of scenes that did make me laugh. But as a movie, it doesn't gel to make me like it more. There's too many problems with it that I had overall to get me away from the fact that it's, funny in bits and pieces.
Yeah, it felt like the script was a first draft, and that he was just coming up with, okay, here's some ideas, and then forgot to kind of go back and rein it in. Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, there was two things that stuck out to me. One was it felt really out of touch. She's turning 40. And they've decided that they want their kids to be, to do other things rather than be on electronics. So they say, we're going to turn off the Wi-Fi at 8:30 every night so none of us can use it. So we can do other things like go outside and build a fort.
You need to get outside more. Do some playing outside.
Yeah, you can build things out. You could build a fort outside.
What?
Yeah, build a fort. Play with your friends and have...
Make a fort? Outside?
Yeah.
And do what?
Have little...
Do what in the fort?
When I was a kid, we used to build tree houses and play with sticks.
Nobody plays with sticks.
You and Charlotte can have a lemonade stand.
Play kick the can.
Look for dead bodies.
It's fun. That's fun to do.
Get a tire and then just take a stick and run down a street with it.
Nobody does that crap. It's 2012.
You don't need technology.
No technology.
Charlotte, put that down.
And it's kind of played for laughs, but I'm thinking no one would ever say that. And then in the very next scene, they're on the Wi-Fi checking out their daughter's text messages. So it was just like nothing was really making sense, and it just seemed like they were randomly saying crap. And my other big problem was when the text messages show that some kid put their daughter on the not hot list, and so she's upset with this kid. And I understand that there was a reason for her emotions to be kind of crazy, but when she bullies the kid in the parking lot and the kid starts crying, I was like, I don't like you anymore as a human being. And then they bring him into the principal's office and they make the kid's mother look crazy, and then they walk out and they laugh like, hey, we got away with it. They're the bad guys.
They are the bad guys, but at the same time, that scene was not just because Melissa McCarthy seems like a crazy person, but is kind of funny. But they do team up there. It's a scene that plays up the fact that they are meant to be together. I guess that's kind of where I can see where that.
It's how it shows the whole family angle where you might get at each other's throat, but if anybody steps on your family, you instantly team up.
Each other's back.
But they're the ones who were stepping on her family. They were the bad guys.
They were the bad guys.
That is kind of the problem. These aren't they're not the most likable people, which is a weird thing to say since Paul Charm Factory Rudd he knows how to he knows how to be a funny guy, but he's also what's her name? Leslie Mann even says it in the movie. He's like, she calls him a dick. He's like, and he agrees. He's like, I am a dick, but people think I'm a nice guy. It's weird. that kind of describes these characters. They're they're not good people. They're not bad people, but they're not there's a reason why they're the supporting cast and Knocked Up and not the full cast. They're not
exactly.
Which is impressive to me. Did you guys Knocked Up, right? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you like their characters in Knocked Up? I like their characters, but I wouldn't think that these are the people that need a full spin-off movie, right?
I think he just kind of wrapped it in to tell this story. I don't think you even need to have seen Knocked Up to.
No, I certainly wouldn't say you need to. To have seen.
He probably just did that to, I don't know, promote the other film.
Expand his universe.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just saw one. I haven't seen Knocked Up in years, but I saw one clip of it where she's complaining about him not asking her to go see Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I didn't know you wanted to go, or I don't remember, but she was basically saying, I just want you to think about asking me. That's what's bothering. Not that I can't go, or not that I haven't gone, but that you haven't thought to ask me to go, which I think is a telling, and I understand that type of feeling between two people when they're not communicating well. But I think in one scene it's fine, but when you have 15 or 20 of them, and it's always her complaining about what he's not doing for her, that was my biggest problem with the whole movie. Is it was constantly her complaining about him, and I was thinking, God, just divorce her. Because you're never going to please her, ever. You can't do anything to be... And so then it becomes more of a serious movie because they really have a problem.
Yeah, and the movie, it doesn't really provide enough of... it has, the principal's office scene. It has, the end. But it doesn't... I don't think it doesn't give enough of, why they are together. Or, opposed to they're just constantly fighting. It doesn't show enough of the good side, I guess?
Yeah. They also are very self-aware. Like every conversation, they would use self-helpy type analogies and terms all the time. Not just in the one scene where they were, playing therapist's office, but they would just constantly say things that nobody says in conversations with each other. But they were always so aware of why they were feeling the way they were feeling. That seemed like the scene that should have been at the end of the movie. It should have built up to that big conversation where they kind of not let each other have it, but they kind of get it all out. But they got it all out every other scene. So there was no place for it to go except for them to start arguing in front of their parents at some party, which seemed out of place, and no one would ever really do that.
Not in that kind of degree. What did you guys think of Albert Brooks?
No, I don't really have a thought on him. I mean, you mean his character or his performance?
Yeah, his character.
Yeah, no. I don't, nothing.
Just nothing at all.
No,
he was all right. He's Albert Brooks.
Why would you have 3 kids? Anyway, you're 60 years old. You had no money.
Because Claire wanted a baby. If we didn't at least try, she would have left me. She was 45 years old. Nobody thought it would take. The doctor, when we're doing in vitro, was winking at me like, don't worry. We were very unlucky. And now we have these 3 beautiful children.
Yeah. I like Albert Brooks, but what about John Lithgow? In his...
He was okay.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why it went on so long, is because they had these other storylines with their parents that they didn't want to turn into, and I think you could pretty much have taken Brooks and Lithgow out of it. I don't know if their characters were needed.
I would agree that they are. Well, at the same time, they reflect on why people act certain ways. But they are. It is adding on to a movie that's already, long and feels long, as opposed to, it just happens to be this that's funny people. I can agree that it feels like a long movie, but even Knocked Up or 40-Year-Old Virgin, those are movies that are long, but I think have enough story to tell that make it work.
Yeah.
Any other supporting people you want to point out, I don't know, Jason Segel's character or Chris O'Dowd's character or Megan Fox?
I actually I don't know how to say his name, Robert Smigel.
Yeah, Robert Smigel, yeah.
So that's the girl who works, that's the girl who works for you?
Yeah, that's her.
Works for Debbie. Seems nice. My wife would never let me have a hot employee like that.
Yeah?
No. Every woman who works for us looks like they've been in some kind of horrible accident.
Smigel, okay, yeah. I liked the conversation. I think that pretty much was the part I laughed the hardest at, because there are moments where you do laugh out loud. There's some funny moments. And I think they actually showed it in the trailer too. But that conversation that Rudd has with Smigel, or however you say his name, at the coffee shop about wanting the spouse to die painlessly, and rather than horrible death or anything like that. That scene was pretty funny. So I enjoyed that character a little bit.
And that they're both wearing spiffy bike uniforms.
Obviously, I think everybody's going to agree that Melissa McCarthy was probably the best supporting. of all of
Which
them.
is why he gets the gag reel scene at the end.
Right. Which is the only time that I really like kept on laughing out loud. But yeah, no, I liked her a lot.
What's irritated me at this movie is that I don't want to watch it again, but I do want to like rent the Blu-ray just so I can watch the gallons of deleted scenes and alternate takes and stuff. Just because I like kind of that. I like seeing just kind of where the improv takes people, and especially like in the gag stuff where you just see how they're trying to make each other crack. So it's like there's going to be like 8 hours of extra footage for this movie, and I'm probably going to like end up watching a lot of it just because I'm curious to see that. But yeah, the movie as a whole, it doesn't work because it feels like it's too much of them trying to just kind of improv their way through a bunch of scenes that are essentially running together because it's about the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Is it a good movie for the holidays?
No. God, but quite honestly, look what we have for the holidays. Everything's depressing, and I know this is a comedy, quote unquote, but it was kind of depressing. Because they just hated each other. Well, they didn't hate each other, but they just argued so much that I wasn't like having a grand time. I laughed occasionally too, just like you guys, but
Oh, what about the kids, the Apatow children in this movie?
Yeah, they were fine. I mean, I think they did fine. I don't think they were like memorable children characters that you sometimes see in these kind of movies.
I can say this about them because I think they've been better in other movies, but and I don't want to attack children on the podcast. I'll just do that in the comfort of my home. But I think they play better together than they do separately, if that makes any sense. Like I feel.
Have they been in other things?
What?
Besides 40 Knocked Up, have they been in other things?
No, they haven't.
Okay.
But
so they're better at home.
But I feel like just together, like in each other's company, as opposed to like, if I see Maud Apatow on her own talking about Lost, it just feels like a written scene that has her in it. But if I see them together, they're sisters, and so they have a kind of natural chemistry together that makes them kind of funny. Like the same with like Iris, the little one, Iris Apatow, like giving her like a punchline to tag a scene with, anybody can do that, but her playing around with her sister or her parents and Paul Rudd, like there's a natural comedy thing there that just kind of makes it work. So it just seemed more noticeable this time because they have a larger role to play in this film as opposed to just being kind of background fodder and Knocked Up or funny people. So I feel like every conversation I've had about This Is 40 ends with me attacking the Apatow children. So I'm just gonna wrap it up.
Mean.
So yeah, let's get to our rating then. Each week, now Baron and Abe, we try to rate movies based on when you should go and see them. And so we have a scale for that goes from IMAX to theater, dollar theater, Netflix, HBO, TV, or just kind of forget about it. Kevin, on that scale, where would you put This Is 40?
Forget about it.
And Mark?
Yeah, I'd have to sadly say forget about it. I think it's just too long to spend any time seeing it.
I'd say HBO, just because I think there's worthiness to at least giving it a check out without paying hard-earned dollars to go see it. So that's where I'll sit back with. Let's see.